Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into some seriously fascinating source material today. We're looking at the official vision document for a brand new proposed demographic framework. It's called Generation Pragya, or Gen P for short. Now, this document lays out a very specific, advanced, and scientifically driven generational identity. Basically, it's pitching itself as the ultimate alternative to modern internet culture. It's a literal blueprint for behavior, ideology, and progress.
Okay, let's dive right into this. To really grasp this framework, we have to look at the Sanskrit root of the name itself. Pragya literally translates to supreme wisdom and supreme intelligence. So right off the bat, the document makes it clear. This generation isn't defined by the year you were born. Nope. It's defined by an elevated state of intellect and a hardcore commitment to deep understanding.
Here's our agenda for today. 1. What is Generation Pragya? 2. Core traits of Gen P. 3. Gen Z versus Gen P. And 4. The vision and creator.
Section 1. What is Generation Pragya? Blending ancient wisdom and modern science.
So, the core idea behind Gen P is the synthesis of ancient Indian knowledge with modern science. The source document actually frames this as a direct antidote to what the author calls toxic internet culture and an era of blind faith. It's presented as this massive pivot away from the endless distractions of social media, moving instead toward a highly logical integration of historical wisdom and cutting-edge science.
Section 2. Core traits of Gen P, the 5 pillars of the generation. Now, what's really interesting about this is
these 5 specific pillars. We've got scientific sanitanis, masters of technology, rejecting fake heroes, real role models, and critical thinkers. When you put them all together, they create this highly logical behavioral profile that covers everything from how you approach spirituality to your career focus all the way to your media literacy.
Let's break down that first trait, being a scientific sanatani. The framework argues that Gen P approaches Sanatan Dharma completely free of blind faith. Instead of just following a tradition because someone told them to, they dig into the underlying science. The source notes that they recognize the profound astronomy, math, and medicine baked right into ancient Indian texts. They follow traditions logically by actually understanding the mechanics behind them.
Moving on to trait number 2, masters of technology. In this framework, Gen P are absolutely not slaves to algorithms. They aren't doom-scrolling endless video reels. Instead, they're active creators. The entire focus shifts from passive consumption to hands-on creation. We're talking about mastering AI, coding, and engineering to build tools that actually add value to the world.
And that brings us to their role models. The document is super specific here. It calls for the total rejection of fake heroes. And by that, it means toxic internet influencers, Bollywood drama, and blindly idolizing celebrities. Instead, the true role models for Gen P are great Indian scientists. People like Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, Subramanian Chandrasekhar, C.V. Raman, and Homi Bhabha. The text highlights these figures because they actually dedicated their lives to human progress and real scientific advancement.
The final pillar, critical thinkers. According to the document, Gen P accepts zero information without empirical proof. Because their foundation is so heavily rooted in logic, they can easily cut through modern misinformation. They can spot fake news a mile away.
Section 3. Gen Z versus Gen P, a generational contrast. Let's see exactly how this builds.
Because the author draws a very stark line between this new demographic and the modern mainstream. We're objectively looking at a 3-column comparison here, focused on 3 major battlegrounds: technology use, ideology, and role models.
First up on the chopping block is technology use. The document characterizes Gen Z's relationship with tech as, and I quote, watching reels and wasting time. It contrasts this directly with Gen P, who are supposedly out there building AI, coding, and creating automation projects. It is a crystal clear line drawn between passive digital consumption and active technological creation. Next, we have the ideological contrast. The document portrays Gen Z as using modern tech but still holding on to blind faith. Gen P, on the other hand, represents this logical synthesis. They are supposedly bridging the gap between ancient spiritual heritage and rigorous scientific inquiry.
The final contrast is all about role models. As we mentioned earlier, the document explicitly pivots away from what it labels toxic influencers and Bollywood celebrities that it associates with Gen Z. Instead, it elevates figures of heavy academic and historical substance.
Section 4, the vision and creator, the mind behind GenP.
So where does this all come from? Well, this entire conceptual framework, the core traits, the strict rules, the generational smackdown we just looked at, it all originates from the vision of Pratik Pandya. He is the author who outlined this logic-driven demographic.
And so I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative question to chew on. Does the Generation Pragma framework offer a necessary blueprint for our future? Whether you look at this document as a rigid rulebook or just an inspiring philosophy, it definitely challenges us to rethink our tech habits, our heritage, and the heroes we choose to follow. Thanks so much for joining me for today's Explainer. Keep questioning everything and keep learning.